Finally, I want to talk about this laptop here. This is the Lenovo ThinkPad X61, and it is kind of a vintage laptop. This was released 10 years ago, 2007. And the reason I have this is because recently I unboxed a ThinkPad TP25 25th Anniversary Edition, which came with a retro 7-row keyboard. And that made me curious to research a little bit more about retro ThinkPads. And so one of the things a lot of ThinkPad enthusiasts wanted was the good old 4:3 aspect ratio, right? And they don't make those anymore. And this, I believe, is one of the last laptops to have the 4:3 aspect ratio. That is the resolution 1024 by 768, which we don't see anymore, but old CRT monitors and stuff also used to have this resolution as well. And yeah, so this laptop, and a lot of retro enthusiasts like it because it gives you more vertical space to read text instead of widescreen laptops, you know, standard 16:9 laptops. These days, the most common resolution would be 1366 by 768 was the standard for a very long time. I think these days 1920 by 1080, that is full 1080p, is the standard resolution for laptops. But yeah, that's more fitting for movies and maybe games, consuming media basically. But for a business laptop, people wanted to have the 4:3 aspect ratio. So this one runs Windows 7. I'm gonna open up in a bit, but I just want to show you the I/O ports first. So on the side here, we have the vent. Then we have USB 2. This is not going to be USB 3. This is before that. So USB 2, VGA port, which is awesome because this is a good old retro port right here. We have good old Ethernet jack on the side here. Go to RJ45, and I think this is not an express card slot, but a PC card slot. And PC card is the I guess predecessor of express card, and I think that's what it's using here. You have an SD card slot right here, which is still useful today. And at the bottom you have a very nice removable battery, always useful, and docking connector. This is pretty standard on business laptops even today. Something you guys might have missed here is a wireless switch right here, a hardware wireless switch, which means you can switch it on and off via just by pressing the switch here, which a lot of people might not see these on laptops these days, but back then they used to have hardware switches on laptops. Okay, and display latch, by the way, this, yeah, back at the time when laptops used to latch, like you can't open it, right? I can't open this laptop. It's latch closed. You actually have to unlatch it in order to open it, which is some people find this less convenient, but others like me like to have the display latch to prevent the laptops from accidentally being opened, you know, and damaging it. So that's useful. And then on the side here we have a FireWire port. That's an old one, 1394, and we have two USB 2s right here, separate headphone microphone jacks. We have a modem right here. It's the modem input. It's back when they used those. AC adapter right here, and lock slot, and that's it. Okay, let's open up this baby. Good old retro laptop. Also, I noticed that the ThinkPad logo here is different. It's X series. Okay, gotta unlatch it right here and open it up, and there it is, the 4:3 display in its full glory. You can see how tall it is, right? It's tall, but it also takes up less space because the width of this laptop is smaller than modern laptops. And here we have the good old 7-row retro keyboard. Now, you guys might be wondering, this 7-row keyboard is different than the 7-row keyboard on other ThinkPads because this one is an older style 7-row retro keyboard. So let me give you a comparison here. Okay, this is the ThinkPad 25th Anniversary Edition, the TP25, which has the good old 7-row retro keyboard and a widescreen display. All right, this is a 16:9 display, the standard these days on pretty much every laptop, but with the retro keyboard, right? This is the only computer on the market this year, 2017, with a 7-row retro keyboard like this. So it is pretty unique, but this keyboard is a more modern version. So let's compare it right here. Okay, this is a 7-row keyboard retro version versus the 7-row keyboard here which is, so this is the modern 7-rail keyboard, I guess, if that makes sense. And this is an even older version of the 7-rail keyboard. So you can see like the mute button and stuff has been changed into a more rounder shape up here. The escape button has been widened. It has been expanded a bit up here. The delete button has been expanded a bit up here. And the on-off power button right here has been expanded on the more modern, I guess, 7-rail keyboard. This is the old retro 7-rail keyboard. You can see this one, the buttons here, a little bit more spongy, I think. I actually like the newer retro keyboard better. The newer 7-rail keyboard better than the older 7-rail keyboard. But this was the keyboard in place in 2007. I'm not exactly sure when they switched over to this one. Maybe it was 2010 or something around, or 2009, 2010. But anyways, this is a really old retro version. No touchpad, by the way, which is how it should be, because if you use the touch point, if you use a track point, I mean, the track point is how you should navigate on this laptop, and that's how it should be, I think, because the touchpad, if you think about it, is not very ergonomic compared to the track point. The track point is much more ergonomic, keeps your wrists and stuff on the keyboard, right? It keeps the wrists on the keyboard. You don't need to kill your wrists by switching over to the touchpad. So this is how it should be. And this groove, I think, I'm just comparing these two by I use this both, right? Both of these 7-rail keyboards. This groove here is a little bit more pronounced than this groove. The keyboard travel here is a little bit more than the keyboard travel here. Obviously, I think this is a point of this particular laptop, because this is a modern chassis. I believe the X220, which is the older, well, it was the newer version of the 7-rail keyboard before it was discontinued. That one had more travel than this. This one just does not have a lot of travel because the chassis is thin, because it's a special edition laptop that's made with modern internals. But this one has much better travel, and I like it a lot. But I do miss, this is a bigger enter key, bigger escape key, bigger delete key, and the buttons are more rounded here compared to here. And even the Think Vantage here, I'm not sure how useful that is, but there's a Think Vantage button here that this does not have. And even the on-off button right here. You can see the status indicator lights. That's something that this one does not have. That's something else that a lot of people miss about the old ThinkPad, is the status indicator lights here. We have one for the Wi-Fi, whether or not the hard drive is being accessed, the power on battery or plugged in, sleep mode even. So you have a lot of those things, which is cool. And you can tell the difference in displays here. Let's look at the difference in the displays. All right. See, this one widescreen 16:9, this one 4:3 aspect ratio. I think you can tell why people miss the 4:3 aspect ratio. You can tell that this computer, area-wise, is much smaller than this one, and that can be more useful when you're carrying your notebook to different places and stuff. This is actually more portable. It has less area than this one does, and more vertical space, relatively speaking. This one may have more total area, but I think this one, when you're working with Excel spreadsheets and Word documents and stuff, would be better to use. Okay, so this is running Windows 7, right? So anyways, I just wanted to compare these two different 7-rail keyboards. This one is a little bit more retro than this one, which I know doesn't make sense because they're both retro, but this is a newer 7-rail keyboard. This is the older 7-rail keyboard, slightly different. And this one obviously with modern accoutrements, including this trackpad right here. So, and no fingerprint reader. I'm a little bit disappointed. I think in 2007 they should have fingerprint readers, but or should have had them at that time, but mine did not come with one. X61, I think some versions are convertible as well and can become a tablet, but mine does not. Oh, okay. And the track point buttons are different as well. This one is more, That's why you should disable the notifications, folks. Oh my god. So annoying. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna ignore this then. Alright. So, yeah, you can tell this trackpad is a little bit smaller, I guess, but oh god, I accidentally clicked one of the... Okay, go away. Okay, so this one is more wider and easier to click, I guess. It still has these grooves here that you can hit, which is nice. This one, you can hit them pretty easily, but it's not as big of an area as the other one, which is fine, I guess, because you don't really have any other input mechanisms here, so you kind of have to get used to that. You're always going to have your hand below this anyways, whereas in this one you have a trackpad option, right? So people are always going to go to that, but this one you have to use the track point. So I think it shouldn't be, you should never really miss it if you're used to it, right? All right. And yeah, what's the other thing? This is the this is the old X61, the very last laptop made with this 4:3 aspect ratio. This is a 1024 by 768 resolution, and a lot of cool stuff that you get on here that you don't get on modern laptops anymore, including the status indicator lights, this cool 7-wheel keyboard, which does not exist on any modern laptops except for this retro one, but that's a limited edition anyway. Actually, even the track point doesn't really, you only see it on business laptops anyways, but I think it should be on regular laptops too. VGA port, you don't see that anymore, by the way. Obviously, modem port is gone, PC card is gone, and express card is very, very seldom seen. And one other thing is this lid here is a little bit thick, right? It's actually much thicker than this lid here. And it does not contain a webcam, so I cannot Skype anyone using this computer. This one, obviously very, very thin, right? This one, so thick that they actually added this thing called a ThinkLight, which some of you, actually people who have owned ThinkPads know this is another feature that they wanted of this on this retro ThinkPad, but they could not get because the lid was too thin on the new one. But basically, once you activate it, it's this light that comes up here. Actually, I think there's supposed to be two. Maybe mine is... Oh wait, maybe mine only has one. Right, okay. Yeah, it activates this little light up here because this was back before backlit keyboards were common. So people use just this Think light right here and activated that manually. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Some people find it a lot more useful than having just a backlit keyboard, and they use the Think light to illuminate other items. Maybe they have a piece of documents or something they want to see in the dark, and they backlit keyboard is not going to do that. It's only going to eliminate the keyboard, right? But the Think light will actually eliminate the keyboard plus anything else here, right? So that's actually a little bit more versatile, but you have to have a thick display lid in order for that to happen. And fortunately, the mainstream kind of won here. The majority of consumers are mainstream users that want a widescreen display for watching movies, and they want thinner laptops. And yeah, that's basically what prevailed, and we no longer have laptops that are like this. And it's a little bit unfortunate, but this is that's how the industry went. But if you guys really, really want a laptop like this with more modern internals, you should check out I think this site called 51MB. They sell a version of the ThinkPad called the X62, which is an updated version of this one, but I think it uses the same chassis, just a different motherboard. So it's basically like a Franken pad. I think that's what they call it, a Franken pad. So yeah, that's for really hardcore people who really, really miss this design and want modern internals. But this is just the old X61 with the outdated internals. I think it's a Sandy Bridge processor. No, not a Sandy Bridge processor. Core 2 Duo processor. My bad. And yeah, that's a good old 1024 by 768 screen, which I really like for nostalgic reasons. Back when I was growing up, you know, I was using CRT monitors like everyone else, which were always 4:3, 1024 by 768. you know, Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows XP. So of course, having a laptop with this kind of resolution again is pretty nostalgic for me, and having this kind of 4:3 aspect ratio. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, we can just compare the sizes here. Like I said, this one is going to be, just look at this, okay? You want portable. Back then, laptops were more portable than laptops today, because look at how much space, how much less space they take up, right? The widescreen laptop, it has like 30% more, like 1/3 more area than this one, which also means it takes up 1/3 more area in your backpack. So that's one other thing about 4:3 ratio laptops, is they used to take up much less space than the 16:9 laptops of today. So that's one thing that actually, yeah, today's laptops, the 16:9 laptops, are less portable than the laptops back then, despite the fact that they're thinner. Are they thinner? Of course they are. Look at this, right? The bottom laptop is way more thinner than the top laptop here, but it's also way more wider. So what really are you gaining here? This one is 3 pounds, this one is 3.5 pounds. So just think about that. And yeah, that's it. That's X61, the good old 7-row keyboard, retro 7-row keyboard with the 4:3 aspect ratio. And I believe this is also a 14-inch display as well, versus the ThinkPad TP25, which is supposed to be the retro version of ThinkPads today, which is like, it's a limited retro version of a T470 today. But it's still not retro enough. I mean, just look at this. This is proof that it's not retro enough. I mean, we want to have a smaller footprint, right? But unfortunately, I don't think that this small footprint laptop 4:3 aspect ratio is ever going to come back. But that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're interested in looking at the old school laptops versus what is supposed to be an old school version of the new laptop, but it's actually not. And that's it.